Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to JA Trades Expo 2025. Perhaps you have had a couple of sessions already. Just hang tight and we'll start in a couple of minutes.
Hi, hello everyone. Sorry about that. Welcome to the JA Trade Seminar. So my name is Darren Vandermeer. I am a production manager at Legois Design Build Renovate, a design build firm in the Ottawa area. Um, just going to share screen with everyone. Great. So jumping in, we are all members of the Ottawa Home Builders Association. So we are a group of companies, over 400 companies that collaborate together within the community to advocate for uh, residential construction, trades, um, developing our careers, being on the forefront of trends and technology within the construction industry. So, just a group of like-minded individuals working together to help grow the construction industry and do a good job at the same time, like produce leading edge products that stand the test of time. So, jumping in, I'm a production manager, so at Legois Design Build, and Legois does three things if you break it down. So we design, so work with customers, folks that are maybe looking to uh, make a uh, change in their life. Their family is expanding, their kids have moved away, and their home doesn't really work for them anymore. So we help folks redesign their current living spaces and kind of build their dream houses out of the homes they already live in. So we do design and then we take care of all of the selections within the home. So, like the hardwood, the tile, the paint, we help out with all of that. And then I'm on the construction side where we manage the whole project, the whole construction process from start to finish and deliver a completely finished product like the one you can kind of see in my background. So my job at Legois is to oversee all of production, so all of the construction sites at once. I have a team working with me that works on those sites on a daily basis. So, working with them, we collaborate and make sure the construction projects are running on time and on budget. So I also create and monitor cash flows. So I have to try to estimate how much money is going out of the company and coming into the company at the right time so we can make sure we can pay all of our subcontractors on time, etc. So I project that into the future and make sure that that's all aligning as we work through construction. I track all of the construction budgets. Those are kind of very interconnected. Like I said before, I manage the construction team consisting of site supervisors that work on day-to-day job sites full time, and then a team of craftsmen that work on specialty projects um, on the job site. So let's say there's a trim job that needs to be done, maybe a cabinetry detail or a fireplace needs to be detailed. So those craftsmen go out and work on specific projects, particular like hyper focused on like specialty tasks um, across the different job sites. I also manage the quality control, so making sure everything meets our standards. We do build to a fairly high standard. We like to think we're somewhat on the leading edge of things on energy efficiency and air sealing and building science. So that is a challenging aspect of my job. Oops, sorry. I design And feasibility and material selections are things I also work with. That's kind of upfront with the design team. So we're collaborating on a daily basis to look at new innovative products that might be out there to implement on our job sites. And then I'm also looking after making sure everyone goes home safe at the end of the day, making sure all of our health and safety policies are in place and people are safe day to day. So what I wanted to do is kind of now that you kind of have a brief idea of what I do now on a day-to-day, I wanted to like rewind way back to when I was in high school and kind of give you a snapshot as to like what kind of student I was and what that led to throughout the years and how I kind of ended up where I am today. So I was a fairly good student. I would say I got good grades. Um, I I enjoyed school. Um, I enjoyed maths and sciences, but pretty much all subjects, it was kind of a necessary means to an end. I was interested in very detail oriented um, subjects, so math and science seemed to fit. That being said, I always made room in my busy schedule for shop classes and woodworking. Also had an interest in computer science and programming, so I made sure I jumped into those subjects as well. I did complete the French immersion program. I liked gym, outdoor education, was part of the music club, played guitar, and then I played soccer as well. So just kind of like all around, like kind of everything. I wouldn't say I had a super duper favorite out of all that stuff. Um, Coming out of high school, my first construction job was over the summer before I left for university. So that's where I was introduced to construction. I started as a concrete laborer, where my duties included driving materials from different projects to another, basically just carrying heavy materials to and fro from the job site, making sure that the the carpenters had everything they needed to get the work done. Again, wheelbarrowing concrete and stone, raking, shoveling. Those are some basic tasks, and that's what I did for that summer before I went to university. So here we go. Post-secondary, I attended Lakehead University for engineering. I did not do very well. I wasn't a very responsible student when I started my university career. I ended up leaving engineering and moving to a Bachelor of Commerce in Business. Um, During my university career, I continued in the construction industry over the summers. So that included framing new homes. So I worked for a custom home builder, moving material, assisting assembling floor systems, wall and truss systems. I cleaned job site. Um, that was a great job. I learned a lot. There were a lot of talented carpenters working at that custom home company, and I picked up a lot of great skills I still remember to this day and use every day. I also worked again in the concrete trade in university. You're trying to make as much money as you can in the summers, and the concrete trade was paying a better wage. So it drew me back. My responsibilities grew because I had more experience across two different trades now, working with wood framing and concrete from 2 summers ago. So I started to get into doing more form work, tying rebar, damp proofing foundations, assisting with layouts, placing concrete slabs, and slab finishing. After my fourth year in university, I kind of realized that all my passion was getting pulled towards construction. So I and business really wasn't a fit for me. I didn't see a path in the business world at that time. So I decided to leave and continue in the concrete trade, where I then continued to develop my skills. I acquired an 8-ton crane license, DZ truck license, became certified in ICF foundations, moved on becoming a team lead. So I wouldn't say I was a supervisor, but for individual projects I would be the guy in charge on site. It was kind of like whoever was allocated to that site that day, and lots of times I would be the guy in charge. Um, and I got to exposure to some more commercial aspects of the concrete trade, so building, uh, uh, tying rebar and building concrete beams and posts. So that's a little bit different stuff that you don't see as often in the residential industry. Um, so concrete, as you know, Canada is very cold and concrete has water in it, so it tends to freeze when we're pouring. It was typically seasonal work for me. I know there's companies that do work through the winter, but I would get laid off every winter. And when I wasn't snowboarding, I would take on small carpentry jobs more on the finishing side of things. And that eventually led to me starting my own business in the downtime. So at that point, I started my own custom carpentry business with a friend from high school who was a licensed carpenter. We primarily framed new homes, renovations, built decks. We were a general contractor for custom projects. We did millwork and custom furniture. So I threw in some pictures. Here's a typical custom framing job. In the winter, I know there were some uh, prompted questions that JA sent over to us, and people asked, "Do you get dirty? Do you work through the winter?" Yes, we plug right through the winter. It can be cold, but it's a fun challenge. Here's a cool detail of a glass roof we built. I thought that was a really cool project. Um, so pretty interesting. And here's a big boardroom table that we built for a company in Ottawa. That was a really neat project. After being self-employed allowed me to hone my carpentry skills, uh, work independently, develop managerial skills. I was able to apply actually those business skills I picked up in universities. So it was great to be able to pull um, that education component back into my career at that point. Develop interpersonal skills and sales skills. Time management is huge when you're running your own business. Develop a network of peers and trade partners, and obviously develop a loyal customer base was key. Um, Within that customer base, we started doing work for a company called Lagois Design Build Renovate. Um, it provided me, and working with the Lagois Design Build, um, like opened up projects that we hadn't previously had opportunities to work on. And eventually, a site supervisor position uh, came along at Lagois, and it allowed me to make a big jump in my career at that time, getting on very uh, high-end projects that I typically wouldn't get to work on from start to finish. So I decided to shut my business down and join the team at Lagois. As a site supervisor at Lagois, I manage day to day on construction sites. I managed sub-trade work, was responsible for making sure all materials were on site for the day for construction, uh, enforced and oversaw the health and safety policy day to day. We guided the clients through the construction process. At Lagois, we have a weekly meeting with our clients to keep them up to date. We supplemented carpentry work on a daily basis. So if there's something around the job site that needs to be taken care of, as a site supervisor, we would look after that. And of course, like we would just all day to day, start to finish, we would supervise. So after 3 years of supervising at Lagois, I applied for the production manager position, the position I'm in now. Just we already kind of went over the description of what I do now, but just to describe the things that I really like about my jobs, because it's quite different from where I started. It was very hands-on, practical skills, and now I'm behind a computer probably 90% of the time. Uh, So I like collaborating with my teammates on a daily basis. I think it's amazing having a professional, highly trained team supporting you, uh, facing day-to-day challenges. I love the opportunity to visit site and help on special projects. I'm actually on site today on a special siding project, which I'm helping out with. So I actually get to put my nail bag on still occasionally. I'm always learning new skills. Me and our craftsmen learned some new carpentry skills earlier this week. We had a problem that we couldn't quite figure out, so we ended up taking a little bit of time and teaching ourselves some new skills. And I love working on award-winning projects year after year. So um, by kind of making the jump to Lagua, it offered me the opportunity to work on projects that I never imagined I would get the opportunity to work on. So that's been a big highlight for me. And just, I'll just zip through some quick pictures. Here's a great kitchen we did, an exterior reno, downtown Ottawa, and a nice interior fireplace. Just a few of the recent projects that we've been working on. I think that's it for me. So I'll pass it on to Christina and hope that shed some light on kind of where I started and where I ended up. Thanks.
Thanks, Darren. So hi, everyone. My name is Christina, and I'm currently the warranty manager at Cardell Homes, where I've been for the past nearly 3 years. Unlike Darren, my trajectory path is quite different. I had no intention of ever working in construction. It was never my plan to work for a home builder or even be anywhere in this industry. Back when I was young, my passion was children. I loved kids, and I always thought that I would work with children later on in my life. So I'll tell you a little bit where my career started and how I ended up here. I've had 4 jobs in my life, and that's it. I started in 1988 at the age of 16 at Loblaws as a part-time cashier. And at 19, when I graduated from high school, I went off to college and I studied child and youth work, which I really loved. And I thought that was going to be my future, working as a child and youth worker. However, the year that I graduated from college, the government cut all fundings for many social work agencies, and so jobs were limited. The industry was completely unstable, and social workers were very underpaid. And so I continued at my posh luxury unionized part-time job at Loblaws, where we were probably one of the only companies in the city that was being paid more than most government workers were making, and we were doing that part-time. So in 1990, I was making $14 an hour, which may not seem like a lot to you guys, but back then, that was a lot of money. And so I continued on working at Loblaws. Um, and then in 1995, I had my first child, and I knew that I needed to do something different. I was a single mom, and I needed to make more money, and I needed something else. So being at Loblaws, thankfully, I had seniority, and I was able to apply to full-time positions. And so I moved my career up at Loblaws, moving from a cashier to a kids clothing manager, a store analyst. I was a night crew chief, and then finally I was a head cashier. So I did it all. I moved from department to department, which was fantastic for me. I gained a lot of leadership experience. I always had new responsibilities. I learned how to be a team member. I excelled in customer service, and I learned customer service skills from dealing with all types of people. And these skills have helped me exponentially throughout the years. And I think it makes me a good leader now from learning these things back when I was younger. The unfortunate part, though, for retail means that you have to work a few evenings a week, you have to work every weekend. And as I was a single mom, my work-life balance was very seriously affected with my child. And so I kind of knew that I needed to do something different, but I had no idea what I could do. I had never held any other job. I only worked in retail. My education had lapsed, and so I couldn't even go out into that industry. And so I was stuck. Like, what do you do when you don't have any other experience? How do you get yourself out there? And so I enrolled in a part-time night class at Algonquin College in office administration. And ironically, my mom at the same time was a manager for a staffing agency. And she told me about a position that she was hiring for, which was an office admin position at Claridge Homes, which is a big home builder here in Ottawa. And she placed me there. And after 14 years in retail, I resigned from my full-time job. I, not knowing anything about how to work in an office, I accepted this placement job and I showed up for my first day at work, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I looked at the switchboard and the fax machine, and you guys have no idea what either one of those are. You'll never know this in your life, thank God. I had no idea how to operate either. I was really lost. I was handed a stack of papers and they said, go photocopy and fax these. And I had no idea what I was doing. But I quickly learned, and I really excelled in that role. I loved it. I felt like I was playing secretary as a kid, and it was fun and it was something different. And so, I started to take on more tasks for every manager, everybody that would come to me and say, can you do this? Can you do this? The answer was always yes. And if I didn't know how to do something, I learned how to do it. I taught myself how to do it. I went online. I watched YouTube. I Googled things, and like it came instinctively to me, but I just learned as I went, and I dealt with it. So it was during this time that I started to learn about the home building world. And, I learned the lingo, industry terminology, contracts, processes, and I absorbed everything that I could. And so from a receptionist, I was quickly promoted to a sales and marketing coordinator. And then I moved on to be the executive assistant for the vice president of Claridge Homes, which was a pretty exciting job, let me tell you. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the home building industry, and it was quite a fun job. And I held that role for 7 years. But after 7 years, I just wanted more for myself. I felt like I was stuck. I needed to do something else. And so I asked other departments in the company, what can I do for you? What can I move into? And there was a position available in the warranty department. And so I took it. So I accepted a job as a senior warranty coordinator, which that role is a very difficult role. You're the first point of contact for homeowners after they close their home if they have issues with their house. It can be a leak or electrical failure or paint touch-ups, anything. They're calling you. And usually when they call you, they're not happy. They're usually angry, they're frustrated, they're ticked off. They closed on their expensive home and they wanted it to be perfect. And as we know, nothing in life is perfect. And so they're calling you. So the job as a warranty coordinator was to schedule repairs, coordinate trades, talk to your homeowners, try and calm people down. You have to be very empathetic. Your communication style is extremely important because for the most part, you're under stress most of the time. And so I did that job for 2 years until a service manager role opened up at that company. And I was then promoted to the service manager. So I oversaw the teams, I oversaw the departments. I was dealing with even more difficult customer issues, problem solving, dealing with the management of the company, liaising with trade partners and managers of trades, and really getting myself out there because building relationships is one of the most important things in this industry. And so I was a service manager until this terrible thing called COVID hit. And the pandemic, anyone that works in construction will tell you the pandemic hit our industry hard. Like many industries, home building was turned upside down. We were selling more houses faster than we could build them, and due to safety restrictions, many of the warranty teams in Ottawa and in the province were shut down because we weren't allowed to go into homes. And so because of that, most of my team members were laid off, and I was the last man standing in a department that had 40 staff before COVID hit. And I was trying to do everything myself. And when we rebounded from the pandemic, a year and a half, 2 years later, it was a disaster. We had a backlog of warranty work. We had to completely restructure the department. We had no idea, what we were doing. And it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. And I decided at that time it wasn't for me, and I left my role. I was offered an amazing opportunity working for the Greater Ottawa Home Builders Association as an association services manager. It was work from home, which I quickly learned I'm not a work from home person. I don't like it. I need to be out there, talking to people and socializing. That's the job for me. But I worked from home for a year, and in that position, I had a complete bird's eye view of the entire industry. I got to meet people from all areas of construction and gained insights I never would have had otherwise. But after a year, I realized that I really missed the monotony and the fast pace and daily problem solving of working directly for a builder. So thankfully, I had gained a relationship with somebody who was the vice president at Cardell Homes, and she offered me an opportunity to return to home building. And I went back as a warranty manager. Some people would call me crazy because on the best of days, it is very chaotic. Some days are calm, but those days are few and far between. But I do find the chaos extremely rewarding. Last year, I was diagnosed at the age of 52 with ADHD, which I never knew I had before. I always knew that I was a little different, and I always knew that I had some obsessive compulsive disorders when it came to organization and, when it came to being highly emotional, but I was also very structured, and I needed routine. And so I call these my superpowers. And I think the ADHD superpowers that I have actually helped me exponentially in this industry. It's helped me excel in my career. It's helped me, change my path a couple of times, and it's helped me to be the person that I am. And I think that I'm a good manager because of it. So I have a few takeaways for you. Not everything is sunshine in life, and not everything is smiles, and some days are tougher than others, but it is rewarding to know that you're solving someone's problem, and having someone thank you and appreciate what you do is rewarding in its own. And that's what my daily life is. So your path doesn't always have to be perfect. Mine certainly wasn't. Every job teaches you something different, even if it's not your dream job. Always be open to change. Sometimes the best opportunities come from the most unexpected places. People skills matter. Listening, being empathetic, and learning communication styles will be your superpowers in life. And never stop learning, whether it's through formal education, YouTube, Google, life experience. There is always something ahead, and there's always something new to learn. And so with that, I will pass it on to Alex.
Sorry, I'm that guy that starts talking while he's still muted. So thanks a lot for that, Christina and Darren, for sharing your experiences in this great industry that we're lucky to be a part of. And thank you, Durga, for setting this up. I'm always excited for the opportunity to kind of talk to youth and the next generation of people who are going to be kind of walking into our footsteps and talk about the world of choices, the aptly named thing that really is available to everybody, and the growing job market that's there. So if you talk to 3 different people like you are today, you're going to hear 3 different stories about how to get in. If you talk to 12 people, you're going to find 12 different stories of how somebody got into construction and where they are, right? So there's going to be a lot of people in the office positions and in the management positions and in the coordinating positions. You see, my title is officially President and CEO of Capital Framers, but really I'm just a framer. I mean, I'm one of the guys that's actually building it. So framing company, for those of you that don't know, we build the skeleton of the house. So your floors, your walls, your roof, your stairs go in, your windows, everything you can stand on, lean on, look at, it's a framer or a carpenter has put it there. And it's funny to see how different people get into it, like I mentioned. So they've got their stories of maybe you went to university, you tried something out, and that wasn't for you. You went another direction, and it ended up being the summer job that really stuck with you. Or, you kept doing different management positions, and then it was the warranty coordinator that really resonated with you. Or maybe it's going to be, you know, it's the actual building, and it's getting to see at the end of the day what you've done. So I'm kind of going to be a bit all over the place here, and I'm sorry, I'm at a loss when I can't see the audience. So it's hard to kind of direct the thoughts from how did I get into it or what do I do in a day? So let's take you through the day-to-day of a residential framer. And now that's a tough thing to say because it's not going to be a monotonous day-to-day. You get to work, you know, you go up to your office, you sit down at your desk. It's every day is going to be a bit different because you're always building something different. So you can be building a first floor or setting up the foundation to make sure that everything's going to be square, plumb, and level, to make sure that, you know, when you build your floor, there's not going to be anything in the way for the plumbers or the heating guys. Everything's going to be nice and square. So the tile's going to look good, the hardwood's going to look good, everything's going to be flat. Another day, you're going to be building the walls. You know, you're going to be carrying lumber, you're going to be lifting the walls. And when you walk away at the end of the day, after the second floor, after the roof, whatever it is, it looks different than when you got there. So it takes you typically a couple of weeks to put a frame up on a house. And I think that's the most rewarding part of the job, is you get to see the fruits of your labor. Everything that you do actually has concrete substance, and you can look at it and say, you know, that's something that I did, and that's going to be there forever. And the day-to-day, while you're doing it, while you're doing the floors and the walls, there are some things that are going to stay constant and they're going to stay the same. And that's the fact that when you're out there on a residential construction site, for the most part, you're really just there hanging out with your friends. Like, you've got a radio going, you're outside, you're having a good time, and you're building things. Like, you're doing what you enjoy, you're doing what you love, and you're doing it with people that you like working with, hopefully, for the most part. And as Darren mentioned, some asked if we do it in the winter. We do. It's cold and it kind of sucks, but it's still just very rewarding. So the how to get into it, that's something that I want to talk about, because skilled trades can be a first choice. And I think it's a fantastic first choice. So I'm the product of a pilot project in my high school that was Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program that you guys might have heard of. It's, you know, co-op programs, things like that, that actually get you out of the classroom and onto job sites, trying out a trade or, you know, whatever other co-op opportunity. And I think that's really important for getting involved in the skilled trades because, again, I'm going to say there's a world of choices out there. So if you just look around you right now, you're going to see, you know, the ceiling, the wall is completely flat. I mean, that's a bunch of studs upright. It's a bunch of panels. You know, there's a bunch that goes into actually making that flat. The drywall guy that puts the mud on there, drywall guy or girl, they're actually an artist to make it look as flat as it does. The floors below you, maybe that's something you're going to look into or you're going to enjoy. But there aren't many people that are sitting at a desk in school, daydreaming, looking out the window about doing the siding on a house. But there's a guy doing siding on the house, the final siding, that he's loving it. He enjoys every day he goes to work, and he's making good money, and he's got a great, solid career. And what you learn in the skilled trades, what you take away from it, is what I like to call a marketable skill. So it's not just that you're going to be working for that one company your whole life. You're going to end up with a degree that you have a debt for because you went to college or university. You're going to end up with a skill that you can take, you know, across the country if you want, to another province, to, you know, down the road to the next guy, but you're going to be able to do something. You're going to have a tangible skill and an asset, and you'll always have this skill. But back to the OYAP program, I think, and the idea of nobody dreaming about being a siding installer is, with a lot of these things, you have to try it to know that you like it. So if you talk to the siding guy, you say, how did you get into it? He'll probably tell you that, you know, he was working with his uncle or his friend's dad or something during a summer, and he decided that, you know, I enjoy doing this and I can probably make a career out of it. And I myself like to say that I'm 19 years into my summer job. But I mean, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but it's like Christina said, it's going to be people skills that get you there. It's going to be effort. With the skilled trades and with this industry, you're really going to get what you put into it. And showing up is going to be 99% of the battle. So if you want to ask how to get into it, maybe some of you are still in high school and you have an opportunity to take advantage of a co-op program. I highly recommend that. Just try something in the building trades. Even if you're just getting out on site, if you got in with an electrical contractor, maybe that's not what you like, but you're going to see a bit more of the plumbing. You're going to see a bit more of the drywall, the installation, the flooring, the kitchen install, the stair install. you know, there's a world of choices out there. There's, you know, I could sit here for the entire 45 minutes just naming different aspects of the trades. But one of the great things about getting into the trades is how much work is available right now. So you're going to hear on the news all the time that cost of housing is going up. There's not enough supply. And even if all the prices dropped tomorrow and everybody could afford a house and we had all the houses that we could possibly want to build, we wouldn't have enough people to build them. We have an aging workforce. Most people in my position, I'm 37 right now. I think most of the people that are in my position are, you know, 58. I'm going to be celebrating my old boss's 60th birthday on the weekend. You know, they're not going to be around for much longer, and we need to replace that workforce with interested, exciting individuals. And, you know, get you guys, there's never been a better time to get in the door. Without going through the day-to-day of, you know, how I got into it, actually, it's not a long story. Right out of high school, I got a job sweeping floors on a construction site, cleaning up after everybody, and just, you know, cleaning up the drywallers' mess, cleaning up the framers' mess, the electricians, everything like that. But it gave me a better opportunity to see everything on the site. And that's when I decided that, you know, framing was probably what I wanted to do. So I got in, you know, I gave my 2 weeks notice of that because I decided that 6 months of sweeping floors was quite enough of that, and got into the framing company. And then, to my surprise, kept sweeping floors for a little while and cleaning up the garbage. But you start as a laborer, and then you end up, you know, one of the guys that's actually putting it together. You end up one of the guys that's telling people how to put it together. And eventually you end up someone like myself, the president and CEO of the company, who's, you know, gone from laborer to somebody that has, I think today I have around 62 people in the city framing houses or doing some aspect of that. So I don't want to drone on and bore you guys. I'm sure you have a few questions for us, how to get into it, specifically things that we like about it, things that we don't like about it. And so I'd love to hand it over to a bit of a Q&A so that we make sure that we have time to get to everybody.
Thank you so, so much, Darren, Christina, and Alex. You know, it was really wonderful to hear from you, and we'll open the floor up for questions. Please feel free to add into the Q&A, but I will start off a little bit with some questions that I've already got. What do I include on my resume if I wanted to join your career sector?
Okay, so I'll take this one. Things to include on your resume if you want to get into our career sector is just honesty. You know, don't try to fluff it up and lie about anything or make yourself sound more experienced in one thing than another. A lot of the time when I'm looking at resumes, I'm actually looking for consistency. So if I see that somebody's been in the same area but has jumped around to many different companies, I'm going to kind of start to wonder, you know, why were they jumping around? Was it different companies, or was the companies that were the issue, or maybe they had a problem with attendance, and showing up really is the most important thing. That being said, a lot of different things on your resume doesn't look bad when it's a lot of different things on your resume, right? So I'm going to look at that and I'm going to realize that, well, they just haven't found what they enjoy yet. And that's why they haven't stuck with something. So, you know, if you have 4 different jobs in 6 years on your resume, it's not always the worst thing. I mean, most of my top guys who are making, you know, we have people in the 6-figure range. They started out as, when they came to work for me, before that, they were a line cook. Another guy was a deli clerk at Loblaws. Another one was a dishwasher. So you can put your genuine experience, put any volunteer experience you had at high school, any volunteering experience you had in the community, even your interests. We do like to know these things. Like, do you enjoy being outside? If I see that somebody enjoys being outside and being active, then I'm going to think that they might enjoy being a framer. So there's going to be a lot of different things that we look at for that. And I think a lot of employers understand that I'm not looking at a resume for an entry-level employee, or somebody starting their career. I'll say not entry-level employee. I'm going to say for somebody starting their career, I'm not looking for experience. I'm not looking for 2 years experience, right? I'm just looking for somebody that's interested in getting into it and is willing to show up. And I think that that's the most important thing is, a lot of businesses these days, you'll hear business owners complain that, oh, we can't find anybody. There's nobody that wants to work anymore. And I love to ask them, like, well, where are you looking? Like, how do you expect there to just be somebody that's experienced looking for a job that's going to want to make what you want to pay them? Like, if you're not willing to teach people and train them, then you are always going to have a shortage of staff. So when we start people out, and when I say no experience, I mean that I expect to teach you how to read a measuring tape, and I'm completely fine with that. A little background knowledge of math and fractions is helpful, but we can work on that too. And I mean, if you're recently out of high school or in high school still, you'll remember hearing about the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What is that? When are you ever going to use that? Well, I'm going to teach you how to use it. We're going to show you where these math formulas actually come to life. And we'll actually make you appreciate the math classes that you did take. I can't help you with your quadratics though, but so I hope that answers the question a bit.
I love that, Alex. If you don't put it into practice, then you sort of forget about it also. So that's such a great point. We do have another question. Are there apprenticeships or internships available, and how do I get them?
Darren, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. So, yes, they are out there. So getting them can be a challenge. I'm not going to lie. So, what it comes down to is you guys getting out there and door knocking and creating relationships with trade companies in your area. So essentially, what needs to happen is these trade companies need to sponsor you for your apprenticeship. So in order for that to happen, obviously you need to be employed by them, which means you need to get a job. So I mean, that's the first step. Um, from there, most companies would want to make sure that if they are sponsoring you, that there's some follow through there. You're going to commit to that company for a certain amount of time and grow with that company within reason, right? So there's a bit of give and take there. It's a bit of a two-way street. I will speak to the co-op program. So if you guys are looking for something that is a little less of a commitment, co-op while you're in high school is a great option because employers aren't obligated to sponsor you for said apprenticeship, but it's where you can start building those relationships and you're going to start learning those skills. It's going to give you a great head start. And I would really encourage you to look into co-ops and door knocking, of course, and even just there'll be a lot of companies out there that'd be willing just to take you along for a day and show you um, what the day to day would be like on a construction site within reason. I mean, there's some safety things that need to be taken care of, but I'm sure most construction companies out there, if you approach them and you explained what it is you're trying to do, would be more than happy to help you out for sure.
I also wanted to mention
Christina?
that a company like mine, a home builder, we hire summer students. So being a summer student as a laborer is an excellent way to learn about construction. As a laborer on a construction site, it's not only, cleaning up garbage or cleaning up a mess. You're actually in a house. You'll see what other trades are doing, how you'll see what a tile company or how a tile setter is laying tile. Maybe you'll say, oh, hey, that's something that I'd like to do. Carpet, drywall, paint, you'll see everything, hardwood flooring. So, apply to these companies, these home builders as a summer student. Send your resume. Even if you don't see that they're hiring, send a resume anyway, because maybe it's something that they hadn't considered and they'll see that, hey, here's somebody that's interested in getting into this industry. Let's give them a chance. It's a great way to spend your summer. You be outside, you'll make some great money, and you'll get experience in this industry.
I love that. Thank you, Paul.
If I could just jump on this one a little bit as well,
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Christina's absolutely right. I mean, that's how I got my start was as a construction site laborer. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to plug the myfutureisbuilding.ca website there. So that's where the hardworking people at the Home Builders Association have kind of amalgamated all of the job listings that our members have and kind of bring them onto there. So that could be the first stop shop if you're looking for work in and getting into the trades. But as Darren said as well, the door knocking is important. And like Christina said, just because they don't have an ad up doesn't mean you shouldn't send them a resume. I mean, I've got some signs up in the city that you might see if you're driving around Ottawa that just say, Capital Framers, join the team, send your resume to careers@capitalframers.ca. I've got lawn signs that we put out every now and then that just say, always building, always hiring. But I don't leave my contact information on those ones because I want to know that the person actually put effort into it. It says the name of the company. It's got the logo, always building, always hiring. I want those cold calls. I want those door knocks. I want people to reach out to me out of nowhere and say, hey, can I join the team and build houses? The answer is going to be yes. And a lot of other people are going to say the same thing.
I'll bring up there's QR codes at the end for My Futures Building. So if you guys want to, I'll leave that up. Just when we're getting closer to the end, you guys can scan those and it'll bring you right to the My Futures Building site.
That's amazing. And we did have a follow-up question, and that is a lot of students are hesitant to speak or approach people outside of their comfort zone. Can you elaborate or maybe give some guidance on how to start door knocking and what works really well? Thank
Start
you.
by an email. If you're afraid to call or you're afraid to go show up at a company, send an email. Most companies have an HR team. Send an email to their HR team and be very, in your email, I would say, hey, here, this is my name. I'm this age and I'm really interested in home building. And here's what I want to do. I want to get into residential construction. I want to learn a trade. I'm hoping that you can help me. I mean, start with an email and go from there. Chances are the HR team will want to do a virtual call with you or a virtual chat so that they can see you. But I know it's intimidating. Before we started this chat today, I had said that I am not a public speaker. I am very intimidated speaking to large groups of people. I don't like it at all, and it's not a comfortable thing for me either. So if you told me that I had to walk into an office and say, here's my resume, I want to work for you, that's not happening. Not today, not tomorrow, not any day. So start with an email.
Also, I mean, I'm going to say that sometimes things that are worth doing are hard to do. So how do you approach or speak to people outside of their comfort zone? You know what? It might be the hard first step that you got to take. But once you take that step, years later, you're going to be like, well, I'm glad I did that.
I would say all of us could probably remember walking into that construction office or walking up to that job site and starting that first conversation. I know I can, walking into the local concrete contractor's office and just straight up asking if they had any work for the summer. I was sweating buckets. I remember it to this day. So
Oh, yeah.
definitely a
Remember how awkward
nerve-wracking.
your first lunch break was?
Right. Yeah. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know what to do, especially your first day. You show up with your dad's old work boots. Um, but don't worry. People are going to look after you. They're going to show you what to do. And you just start there and you'll grow from
They've
there.
all been there.
Yeah.
They've all been there.
They've all done it.
I love that. And unfortunately, we do have to wrap up in a bit, but do you have any last comments or guidances for any of our students that are listening in today, especially in the world of golf?
I I don't know if it came through. I felt rushed because I think I made too many slides for my section, but I wanted to kind of highlight that there's no one specific subject or um, uh, a skill that you have to be an expert at to get into the trades. It's diverse, I think, is what I wanted to project to everyone. And regardless of your interests and your background, there's going to be a fit for you somewhere. And it's all about starting. And even if you start in something that isn't quite the right fit for you, you're gaining knowledge and skill that's going to transfer across all the other trades regardless. So everything you do from your starting point moving forward is growing you in the trades regardless of whether it's your end goal. So I guess that would be the message I wanted to try to convey is that um, just jump in and you will be rewarded for sure.
I love that. Christina, Alex, any parting words? And thank you so much for the QR codes as well.
I think Darren nailed it. I'll just close off by, I hope, well, we can't see you right now, but I hope we can meet on a job site one day.
I love that. Thank you so much, everyone. And students, if you do want to keep connected, we will leave the link that Alex mentioned on our on-demand video as well. And if you do have more questions, please feel free to send them along our way, and we'll make sure that those get answered in the couple of weeks coming. Thank you so much, Darren, Christina, and Alex. Have a great day all.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.